Why did a tiny spinning triangle create the most feared sports car of the 90s? Welcome back to Torque Anatomy. Today, we are tearing into a machine that is part pure artwork and part mechanical witchcraft, the 1997 Mazda RX-7 FD. By the late 90s, the sports car world was dominated by heavy muscle cars and massive displacement engines. But Mazda? They looked at those giant heavy blocks of iron and laughed. They decided to do things differently. Very differently. To understand the FD, you have to understand its beating heart. Most cars use traditional pistons, metal cylinders violently pumping up and down, constantly fighting their own momentum. But Mazda gambled its entire reputation on the Wankel rotary engine. If you are new to this, just picture a metal Dorito spinning smoothly inside a peanut-shaped chamber. There are no pistons, there are no valves, just pure, uninterrupted rotational force. It was insanely compact, incredibly smooth, and it revved like an angry superbike. In 1991, Mazda took this exact weird engine design to the grueling 24 hours of Le Mans. And they completely destroyed the competition! The world was stunned, and Mazda took that exact same racing DNA and poured it straight into a street car. But the birth of the FD generation wasn't just about a crazy engine. It was born out of Japan's wild, cash-rich bubble economy. Mazda's engineers were basically handed a blank check and one terrifying mission: build the ultimate lightweight driving machine. They called their engineering philosophy Operation Zero Weight. The development team went completely obsessive. They didn't just look for pounds to cut. They hunted down grams. They drilled holes in the aluminum pedals. They made the windshield glass thinner. They shaved down the thickness of the body panels. Every single component was analyzed, heavily re-engineered, and stripped down to its absolute bare minimum. When the FD hit the production line, it was a masterpiece of packaging. Sitting low and far back under the hood was the legendary 13B REW engine. It featured the very first mass-produced sequential twin-turbo system to ever come out of Japan. For the driver, this meant absolute magic. The first, smaller turbo would spool up fast, giving you instant punch right off the line. Then, just as you thought the power was leveling off, the second massive turbo would kick in, violently blasting you toward the red line. The power delivery was brutal, seamless, and totally addictive. By the time the 1997 Series 7 models rolled off the assembly line, Mazda had refined this chaotic, spinning symphony into absolute perfection. So we know the history. But what exactly is happening under the hood of this legendary machine? Let's dive straight into the engine anatomy. At the core of the 1997 Mazda RX-7 FD is the infamous 13B REW engine. This is a 1.3-liter twin-rotor Wankel engine. Now, 1.3 liters might sound like the tiny engine out of a cheap economy hatchback, but do not let that small displacement fool you. This engine punches so far above its weight class, it is practically defying physics. Unlike a normal V8 or an inline-4, there are no pistons moving violently up and down. There is no heavy, complicated valve train snapping open and shut. Instead, inside the aluminum engine block, you have two triangular rotors. Think of them as massive spinning metal Doritos. These rotors spin around a central metal core called the eccentric shaft inside a peanut-shaped housing. As the rotor spins, the empty space between the rotor and the housing expands and contracts. This process naturally pulls in fresh air and fuel, squeezes it down to compress it, ignites it with a spark plug, and blasts the burning exhaust out the other side. Because everything is moving in one continuous, perfectly smooth circular motion, the 13B engine can rev up to a screaming 8,000 RPM without breaking a sweat. But Mazda did not stop there. To make real power, they bolted on a deeply complex, incredibly innovative sequential twin turbocharger system. Here is how it actually works. When you step on the gas pedal at low speeds, all the exhaust gas is forced entirely into the first primary turbo. Because it gets all of that focused exhaust pressure, it spools up instantly, completely eliminating turbo lag. You get immediate, hard-hitting torque right off the line. Then, as the engine climbs past 4,500 RPM, the mechanical magic happens. A series of complex, computer-controlled valves suddenly spring open. This redirects the pressurized exhaust gas into the secondary turbo. Within a split second, both turbos are fully spooled, working together in perfect harmony and forcing a massive wave of cold, compressed air straight into the engine. For the 1997 Series 7 model, Mazda heavily refined the engine tuning. The final result? A furious 265 horsepower and 217 pound-feet of raw torque. All of that explosive rotary power is channeled through a beautifully mechanical, close-ratio 5-speed manual transmission and sent directly to the rear wheels. When that secondary turbo kicks in, the RPM needle flies across the dashboard. The exhaust wails like a race car, and you are instantly pinned to the back of your seat. It is not just an engine. It is a true mechanical masterpiece. The 90s Japanese sports car market was an absolute golden age. You had legendary giants like the Toyota Supra Mark IV, the Nissan 300ZX Twin Turbo, and the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4. But while the competition was building heavy, comfortable highway cruising Grand Tourers, Mazda took a completely different path. The FD RX-7's biggest advantage? It went on a serious diet. While a fully loaded 3000 GT weighed almost 3,800 pounds, the RX-7 tipped the scales at just under 2,850 pounds. That is almost 1,000 pounds lighter. And because the Wankel rotary engine is incredibly tiny, Mazda was able to mount it extremely low and push it far back behind the front wheels. This creates what engineers call a front mid-engine layout. The result is a perfect 50-50 weight distribution and a ridiculously low center of gravity. When it comes to driving dynamics, the RX-7 does not drive like a normal street car. It feels like a dedicated, razor-sharp race car that somehow sneaked out of the factory with a license plate. When you turn the steering wheel, the front end bites into the asphalt with zero hesitation. There is no heavy cast-iron engine block sitting over the front tires to slow your steering down. It darts into corners, stays perfectly flat, and blasts out the other side with that smooth, screaming rotary power delivery. Sure, a heavily modified Supra might beat it in a straight-line drag race. But on a twisting mountain road or a tight technical racetrack, the RX-7 will absolutely leave its heavier rivals in the dust. The chassis communication is pure, unfiltered analog magic. You feel every single ripple in the road right through the steering wheel. It is unforgiving, it is sharp, and it demands your absolute focus as a driver. But when you finally get it right, when you hit the apex perfectly and hear that twin-turbo engine scream to 8,000 RPM, there is simply nothing else in the automotive world that feels like an FD. Now, I have to ask you guys a very serious question. If you had a blank check right now, which legend are you taking? Are you choosing the pure, lightweight, corner-carving magic of the Mazda RX-7? Or are you taking the heavy, indestructible, straight-line brute force of the Mark IV Toyota Supra? Drop your choice in the comments down below and let me know why. I know this debate is going to get absolutely heated, so let's hear what you think. But here is the harsh, unavoidable truth. The Mazda RX-7 FD is not a perfect car. In fact, it might be one of the most notoriously fragile sports cars ever built. The exact same rotary engine that gives the FD its magical lightweight handling is also its biggest, most terrifying nightmare. First, let's talk about the heat. Rotaries naturally run incredibly hot. Now, take that blazing hot engine and bolt two massive turbochargers right next to it, underneath a tiny, tightly packed hood. It is an absolute oven in there. Over time, that extreme trapped heat literally bakes the plastics and rubber components. Underneath the intake manifold, there is a legendary, terrifying maze of vacuum hoses. Enthusiasts simply call it the rat's nest. When those tiny hoses inevitably crack and melt from the heat, the complex twin-turbo system just stops working properly, and diagnosing the leak? is pure misery. And then there is the elephant in the room, the apex seals. Remember those spinning metal Doritos from earlier? The very tips of those triangles are sealed by tiny, fragile strips of metal known as apex seals. Because of the intense heat and friction inside the housing, these seals slowly wear down or even completely shatter under heavy turbo boost. When that happens, you lose engine compression and it is time to pull the motor for a very expensive rebuild. For most car owners, an engine rebuild is a total tragedy, but for an RX-7 owner, it is practically just scheduled maintenance. Plus, the Wankel engine is actually designed to deliberately burn oil just to keep those internal seals lubricated. So you are constantly checking your dipstick at the gas station? You are getting absolutely terrible fuel mileage. And if you start the car cold and turn it off before it fully warms up, the engine will flood with raw fuel and completely refuse to start again. So let's go back to the question I asked at the very beginning of this video. Why did a tiny spinning triangle create the most feared sports car of the 90s? The answer is twofold. First, it was feared by the heavy V8 muscle cars and the big Japanese Grand Tourers because this lightweight, screaming rotary machine could outcorner, outbrake, and absolutely embarrass them on a twisting racetrack. It was the ultimate, uncompromising giant slayer. But secondly, it was also feared by the very people who owned it. It was highly temperamental, deeply complex, and demanded total, unwavering respect. If you ignored its strict maintenance schedule, it would completely bankrupt you. The RX-7 was not just a car you bought, it was a mechanical relationship. It was a beautiful, chaotic, high-strung masterpiece that forced you to become a better driver and a better mechanic. Thank you so much for riding along with us on this deep dive. If you loved this mechanical breakdown, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep your foot heavy and your RPMs high. This is Torque Anatomy, signing off.